Hey Rip City, this is Duop Rick, and you're listening to The Blazers Balcony with Brooke Olzendam and Casey Holdahl.
Greetings, Blazer fans, and welcome to the Blazers Balcony presented by Spirit Mountain Casino, episode 155, the Double Nickel. The Blazers Balcony. I am Casey Holdahl. I'm joined by my friend and coworker, co-host, good buddy, palatial estate, Southwest Portland, Brooklyn, Olzendam. How you doing, Brooke?
I'm great. Lovely day. What weather we're having, huh?
It has been a great run of weather. The cold, crisp
it is
winter
cold
day,
here.
that's where it's at. So I will say, too, it's cold in the morning, for sure. But I feel like it's warming up during the day. And
I say this because when we do the podcast here, which is often, I am facing the backyard. Poor Case. We should switch sometimes so you can look outside.
I think it's fun. I mean, I feel like just opening the shades, which is what I do when I get into your house, which
You
feels
do.
a little presumptuous. I think,
I'm just used to it.
Yeah, but I do come in. I'm
You
like,
come in and just do
let's
it.
Get some light in here.
Yep.
Yeah.
My dad does the same thing. I'm like, oh, no, sunlight. It's going to burn me. But that's okay. I know you're going to do it, so I just expect it. So I'm looking out into the beautiful sunlight in the backyard, and poor Casey's just looking at me on the other side of the kitchen. But, yeah, it's great. It's lovely. But other than that, I'm just swell. I mean, it's so weird to have 3 days off like that. Well,
really
also,
is,
we had
yeah.
broadcast had 3 days off last week because of the national game.
That's
so,
right.
I mean,
And
you'll never do that.
And then with the Boston game,
That is
you
the
guys
weirdest.
will have like 4 or 5 days off. Yeah, you guys are
Crazy.
You guys are really you got some time.
I did not realize we were going 2 days early to Boston also until a couple days ago. So we're leaving Saturday. Monday.
Well, I know we're leaving Saturday. When you said 2 days early, I was like,
Sorry, 1 day earlier than
but
normal.
Still, yeah,
2
earlier
days
than
before
normal.
the game.
Yeah.
To acclimate. We've done that before.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I hadn't looked that far ahead. And someone told me that. I'm like, oh, wow. Because, again, we're not broadcasting that game in Boston. So our broadcast team is just going to be running amok around Boston.
I know. Well, yeah, that's why I think I mentioned on the last show. I was like, well, you will have plenty of time to hang out with your Stacey because you're not even broadcasting the game, and you can maybe sit with Stacey and her family in their Boston Celtics jerseys, and you can wear a Blazer jersey and just talk trash to them the entire game.
Yes, and we've talked about this, and Stacey knows.
Yeah,
that was one of the first times.
Yeah,
I'm like, Stacey, this is not happening. You're not bringing your kids in Celtics jerseys.
You can flip it on its ear now, though. Now you be the fan that's cheering for the other team, and like you could really make like a big stink about it too. Like you could like be talking trash to like other fans, though.
Yes,
Celtics fans are definitely one of those.
No, they're scary
fan
a little
bases.
bit.
They'll swing on you. Yeah, like
I might give John.
People think that, like the most fights I've ever seen in the stands are always at Celtics games.
Either Boston or Philly. Philly's kind of
Philly is right up there too.
Yeah, and they're passionate and they're sometimes a little mean.
Yeah.
But so you're going to put me by myself all the way up there, surrounded by Celtics fans. You're just going to let me fend for myself.
Saying is that like I mean, one, I think you can handle yourself.
I think I can.
You can scrap, but also like I think it would fit the.
Yes.
I think it would be a good way to show Stacey that like, hey, this is what I'm going through when you bring your family. Like,
okay,
and that's all I'm saying.
I like it.
I want a good for the goose, good for the gander.
Yeah,
kind
I
of
like
thing.
it. I like it. I like it. So yes, I'm definitely. I don't know how we're going to do it if we're all getting. We've been talking about this. If we're all getting tickets like Blazers broadcasting, because we leave that night after the game. It's a back-to-back.
That's right. Yeah.
So we have to be there because that buses take off from the arena.
I think we're taking a bus somewhere on that trip
to Washington D.C. from Boston.
I think maybe we're going from.
No.
I'll have to look. I do feel like there's a bus on this trip somewhere.
Oh, interesting.
Or maybe it's the next West Coast or East Coast one to New York, because we're not doing both New York teams this time like we typically do.
I wish we were.
Maybe I do too. Like, I mean, one, we're getting a good stay in New York, which is great. But
True.
Yeah, going all the way to the East Coast for a 3-game trip makes no sense whatsoever. But we're going early. It's going to be fun. And the Portland Trail Blazers are playing absolutely fantastic basketball right now.
Can I add one thing before we get into basketball?
Absolutely.
So I called my agent, Kristen, who lives in Jersey.
Yeah.
She's from there.
Super agent, Kristen, by the way.
Super agent, super amazing human. And for her birthday, she got from someone that one of her former boss, I don't know, gave her tickets to the Drew Barrymore Show. And she asked me to go in New York. So I'm going to the Drew Barrymore Show, the live taping.
Awesome.
Yeah, on Friday. She's like, do you want to go to Drew Barrymore? I was like, yeah, sure.
Are you going to get like a meet and greet?
I don't know. I have no idea.
She's of a caliber where like she's got. I bet
I might.
You're going to get to meet Drew Barrymore.
And I'm going to hug her and I'm be like, I love you so much.
I love Drew Barrymore.
I do. I love her too. At first it kind of was like, off-putting how close she sits to her guests on her show. I was like, give him some space. Now I'm just like, get closer. Like, everyone's into it and they love her and she loves them. And I didn't think it was an act, but I'm like, is she really this interested in this sweet? I think she really is. I think she just is that person. So I'm going to go. I'm going to be excited. I've been thinking about my outfit. Like, I really want to look cute for the Drew Barrymore show. And I've never been to, shockingly, I've never been to SNL, which is my favorite. I've always wanted to go to a live taping of SNL. I've never been. So this will be the first time I've actually gone to like a show, a TV show.
I've never.
Sat in the audience.
Besides like being on Rambling Rod when I was a kid, like I don't think I've ever been on a show before.
Well, but most of them are like LA or New York, right? Yeah, and you have to be in line or like be on a list or get chosen like lottery. So when she asked me, I was like, absolutely. So I think it's Friday. And I'm kind of excited about it.
You should. That sounds like fun. Yeah. I think that'll be great. You should. I was trying to think of what is there a character that Drew Barrymore's played that you could dress up as? I can think of it right now. A multicolored rainbow turtleneck and Oshkosh overalls from E.T. Okay.
And hair in pigtails.
Gotcha. Okay.
Can you see it right now?
Absolutely. Yeah. I was thinking more like you could maybe just wear something 80s style from Wedding Singer, but
that's good too. Yeah. I love that movie. Yeah. That is such a good movie.
She has a very specific haircut in that movie, though.
She did.
You'd have to.
I don't know how I would pull that one off.
No, I don't think you could without some damage to your.
Does my hair smell? That was a good impression.
Right. Yeah, that was good. And also in like that, Ben Stiller's ex-wife is in that movie too, right? Like.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
No, wait. Yes, that's her sister.
Brooke's friend, Ben Stiller's.
Is that her sister or her friend?
That's her friend, yeah. And then she tries to...
Yeah, she likes him.
And then she dates the guy with the mullet who...
Yes, who I love.
Always in...
They were cones.
Adam Sandler's movies. Yeah.
Remember when he's the limo driver and they put him through a test?
Yeah.
And the cones are supposed to be wedding guests and he hit them all. And he's like, you just killed like 3 guests. He was like... They were cones. Yeah. I say that all the time. No one knows what I'm talking about.
I would not know that reference.
But they were cones.
I think it is really funny, like the references we have in our heads.
Yes.
That I don't know if we even think that other people know them necessarily, but we still say them anyways because they mean something to us.
I say they were cones all the time. And I'm surprised this is the first time I've said it to you. I say that no one, like maybe one person out of the last 20 years has been like, oh, Wedding Singer. I'm like, oh, finally.
Yeah. No, I would not pick up on that. So
yeah, it's a very random line. But anyways, back to basketball. I'm sorry. I digress.
I'm trying to make some kind of Wedding Singers.
I know the best line from that movie is.
What's the best line?
When Lovitz is in the backstage. He wants to be the wedding singer, and he watches him like. And
is that where the Jon Lovitz like? And sorry,
go ahead.
Going. No, but I feel like there's like isn't there like a GIF where like.
Yes.
Jon Lovitz like standing backstage and like
that's what I'm talking about.
Okay, yeah.
And he has the curtain in front of him. He goes. He says something because he's losing his mind, and I'm reaping the benefits.
Yeah,
and then he closes the curtain on his face. I love that so much.
Well, is that? Oh, and I was getting the movie Wedding Singer mixed up with the wedding singing scene in Old School, which is the best one where he's singing.
That's
Total Eclipse of the Heart.
Oh yeah. That's great. No, I mean, that's a whole other. We could talk about that for another hour. But yeah, I love it, and that's so funny. And he's losing his mind.
Yeah. The guy always playing Culture Club. Yeah.
Oh gosh, so good. That is so good. I know I'm going to watch that movie this week.
Boy, well, we are 8 minutes into the podcast, so we probably should talk about some Portland Trailblazers basketball. And it's not like in other podcasts throughout the years where maybe we talked about other things because the Portland Trailblazers a little bit difficult to talk about. Not the case. Your Portland
500,
Trailblazers
baby.
At 500 after winning 3 straight, 8 of their last 10, 10 of their last 13, if I'm not mistaken. And I said this the other day, I feel like they're playing as good a basketball right now as any time in the last 3 seasons. Mm-hmm. They are winning games against good teams. They're playing hard. They're now building leads and then holding leads, which is something they did not do earlier in the season. I think that shows a lot of growth and a lot of kind of It feels to me like they've really started to catch on with what the coaching staff wants them to do and how they want them to play. They've had to change up a lot because of injuries and different styles of play. Has not mattered. They have played fantastic basketball, one of the best teams in the NBA since the start of the new year. Maybe the best. I think they do have the best record in the NBA.
We had the longest winning streak. I think when we won 4 straight. Was the longest.
We had the 5.
I know, but I think we were even winning.
I tried to short us a game on the last podcast, but you.
But I think when we were just at 4, that was the longest at the time, and then they won. So then it was definitely longest when they won 5. But I remember that we had the longest winning streak at that time than anyone in the league.
And even when they've lost those losing streaks, so they win 5 straight, then they lose 2 in a row to the Knicks and Golden State. Knicks, a game you felt like
felt weird to lose to Golden State. I'm not used to that anymore.
Exactly. We don't really know how to act anymore. Golden State game barely even counts because they were without Deni. They only had Drew for 20 minutes. Still no Jerami Grant. So that's one where they had just reached a point in terms of their injuries where hey, we just don't have enough guys to win on the road, particularly against a decent team in the Golden State Warriors, which best of luck, Jimmy Butler, tearing his ACL yesterday. That stinks.
Off. I hate that. I hate that.
Terrible. So that's really unfortunate for them. But however, the Trailblazers, they lose those couple games, and I think, at least for me, there's always this idea that is the bottom going to drop out now? Are we going to drop 3, 4, 5, 6? Mm-hmm. And then they bounce right back, beat the Atlanta Hawks, blow out the Atlanta Hawks, blow out the Lakers, and then beat the Kings, who had won 4 straight in Sacramento in a game that they didn't trail in the second half. And again, Deni was out for a couple of those games. He's back, but then Drew and Jerami and Rob were all out for the game versus the Kings. So it's not like they've even gotten everyone all back together at the same time, and they're still playing really good basketball. So again, it feels to me that if they are able to get everyone back, and if they're able to kind of continue to play this brand of basketball, continue to play hard every single night, which I think that's one of the hallmarks of this team is that they always play hard and they don't give up in games.
Never.
When they get down. I think even earlier in the season and definitely in past seasons, it was just okay, we're going to lose this game. We're not going to get back in this one. Now they're avoiding going down big, but when they do, they stay in games, they chip away, they're able to get back into games. And then when they're jumping on other teams, they are keeping them down. And I think, they're in 9th right now in the West. And I think there's some cause to believe that they might be able to move up that ladder. If they're able to continue to play this way, the schedule is coming back a little bit. They've had a lot of home games, so that's been great. It just feels to me that they're on a run right now that, as I kind of mentioned, I think is probably better than any run they've been on in the last 3 seasons.
I agree. No, you're right about the leads, getting off to a lead. Even when the Kings came back within 4 with a couple minutes left, they had to figure out a way to win that one. They just figured out. And to your point about being down, even when they're down big, I never feel it. And Kevin Lamar talk about this all the time. They never feel out of it.
Yeah.
Oh shoot, down 15. Well, they always have a chance to come back and win. We've seen it done. So I agree with you. It's no matter who's out. When we've talked about Deni, and we believe, I don't think it's biased, but when you talk about MVP, the most valuable player to a team, that is Deni Avdija. The entire team will tell you that. Caleb Love has said numerous times to me, he's the head of our snake. He's the head of the snake. And so when he's out, you're oh, you're right. Oh no, what's going to happen? They figured it out. Tumani steps up offensively. Donovan's been so consistent. You got the bench has been unreal.
Yeah.
55 points followed by, and we're well, that's incredible. The next game they had 57 points. Ryan Rupert stepping up. Caleb Love has been just so much fun to watch and love him. And I think that Blazers fans, he's got to, I've watched and read. He is truly a fan favorite right now for obvious reasons. And just whoever you need to step up does, and it's fun to watch. They're easy to root for. They're all just out there I don't know if it's a bummer Deni's out, but we still got to go out and try to win this game, and they figure it out. And then you saw the report come out the last game that, as you just mentioned, Jerami and Drew out. You're bummer, because they've been playing great, but then Deni's back, and Deni didn't look like he missed a beat. Golly, comes out 15 points in the first quarter, looks incredible, and finishes with 38 and 8 on nearly a triple-double and just doing Deni things. So no matter who's out, other guys will step up, and it could be the bench, it could be Jerami or Drew, Donovan. And I got to give a little credit here to Donovan, too. He had said something, and I didn't see it until later, and then I asked him about it last game. He had said, if we can just get healthier, we're going to be a really, really good team. And I even said, I agree with you, but can you explain, why you feel that way? He was like, because we're already one right now. And think about it. Think of the guys, the names that are not playing, and guys that are maybe just out, like a Jerami and a Drew that night, when everybody can come back. And again, that Dame is, we're not foreseeing him coming back this year, but just to even think about Damian Lillard is on our team, but not being able, that's incredible. That you have a Damian Lillard coming back to your team at some point. Just to think about being healthy, the sky's the limit. When they are not completely healthy, they're still finding ways, and it's just fun to watch. And I'm just proud of them. I know that sounds silly, but I'm proud of them they don't have that mentality like, oh, tonight's not our night. Mm-hmm. They never feel like that. Yeah. They don't act like it, at least.
Absolutely. No. And I feel some pride for this team too. Like it's not even so much pride necessarily. It's just nice to have a good team again, and for fans to be excited about the team and, the energy in the building, and when we're on the road and fans so many fans in Sacramento. They're really excited. It's just nice to see a team put in a lot of work and, go through adversity and then come out a better team. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times it just doesn't go that way. And you're not sometimes even given the chance to become a better team, because everything is expected to happen early. So I feel like a lot of times you have to kind of just hope that it's going to come around your way in the right time. And it just feels like the Blazers are able to play that way right now and are in a position to, use what they're doing this year as a springboard to success later on when they're able to get guys like Damian Lillard back in the lineup and, when guys have a little more experience, but also they're already there a bit now. And so I think that, again, there's just a lot of reasons to be excited about this team. And I'm really glad you mentioned Donovan too, because I feel like Donovan is really he's the X factor for this team right now. When he's playing well, and the progress that he has made this season is incredible, phenomenal. It's been exponential. He was so good in that game versus the Kings. He had 10 points in the fourth quarter, 21 points, 17 rebounds, 3 assists, and a block in 37 minutes. Donovan Clingan playing 37 minutes, 7-2, whatever he's weighing in at these days. That is not easy to do. No. And particularly, and I know the Blazers aren't playing as fast as they want to because of injuries, but still, to have a guy like Donovan getting up and down the court and affecting winning for you really makes a difference because, there's just not a whole lot of guys on this team that can replicate what Donovan does. Rob is obviously fantastic, but he plays a different way. Hansen is kind of learning the ropes. Same with Duop. Duop has really given this team something at times too, but just a different look. Donovan, when he's playing his best, and if he's able to be like a consistent double-double guy and play 35 minutes every night, that really changes what this team can do going forward. And when he's playing well, the Blazers win. And he also plays with an edge to him that I think this team absolutely needs. That's another thing that Donovan provides that I think – not necessarily a whole lot of other guys on the roster
Collins-ish
too. Yeah, exactly. Just that red ass, as we've said sometimes.
He got he got fouled on play in Sacramento, and the guy wasn't like malicious or anything, but he just kind of got wrapped up. You probably saw it. And Donovan just threw his arm off him, and he's like, "Get off here!" I don't know if he said that, but it looked like he said that, something like that. And I think the guy was like, "I'm sorry," but I loved it. And I'll say this: I love when I overhear people from other teams who aren't talking to me, because people might say something to me like, "That guy, playing really well for you," and you kind of say that to other teams, people that work for the other team, like in passing or whatever. But I was actually right after I was talking to you in the press conference room. And I was walking by, and there were some people that I don't know if they were in broadcast, I don't know, but they were working, and they were talking to each other. I just walked by, and they're like, "That Donovan Clingan, he's going to be an all-star. That guy, the real center. That's a real center." Just, talking to each other. They both work for the Kings. And I loved it because I just walked by, and I was just I didn't even say anything. I just kind of nodded you're right. But it's cool, when people that don't have any skin in the game are saying things like that, he's going to be an all-star one of these days. You just don't see, you don't see centers play like that anymore, where he's just truly down low, just scrapping, just going for it. And I will say this, I feel like this year versus maybe last year, when he gets the rebound, he has a different approach to when he gets the rebounds. Like, he's holding on to that. Like,
he's holding the ball. He's holding on to it, and he's holding it up higher, too. Like, there's
yes.
always that thing where you bring the ball down, and particularly when you're 7'2", like, guys are just scraping at it the entire time. Like, you got to keep that ball up.
He does. You're right. I can see him right now with his elbows out. He's like, protecting it. And obviously, like that, as he's continued to work on his game and improve, I'm sure people have told him that, and he's been working on it. And you can just see it. Like, I'm like, oh, he's doing this differently. And you're right. You don't see little guys getting in there and creating a loose ball. He's holding on to it with all his might, and that's a difference. And I just have been really impressed with. You're right. I don't want to go as far to say as Donovan goes, the team goes, but you're right. When he does play well, I mean, it affects everyone else. And they all say that. Like, when you have the anchor of the defense down low, and when he's rebounding and giving a second chance shots, like that improves our chances of winning.
Absolutely. And also, when he's able to be a passable three-point shooter, which he has worked himself into one now, he was fantastic in December. Shot 52% from three in December, which is ridiculous. Shooting 26% in January, but who cares? He did have a 1-for-7 night versus the Lakers. He probably took a few of those that he was like, let's just see how this one goes. But when he's able to be a passable threat from three, it opens up so much for everyone else on offense. Like, it opens the passing lanes for Deni and the driving lanes for Deni and Jerami. And I feel like Jerami, since he's been back, has been, the best version of himself. Like, they've asked him to kind of change his game a little bit this year in terms of the way he plays. Basically, Thiago's like, hey, mid-range shots, like, if you have to take them, I guess take them, but I'd really prefer if you didn't. And that was kind of, I wouldn't say a hallmark of Jeremy's game, but like a big part of his game. And so they've really asked him to, like, hey, threes and getting to the rim. Those are the things we would like you to try to gear your offensive game around. And he has really... It's really shapened up his game, I feel like. I think it's better for him and it's better for the team. I feel like Jerami has been really good. I mean, he's only been back for a couple games, but you talk about not missing a beat, too. Like, I feel like Jerami in those games, I'm like, he's been out a month. Like, he looks great. He looks fresh, actually. Like, and that's kind of the way I think Deni, after having played every single game this year, to just have 4 or 5 days off, like, he came out and he was like, "Hey, I feel great.
This is easy.
This is awesome." Yeah, exactly. Though he better come with that ice cream, by the way, because some of the players in the locker room in the post game in Sacramento were like, "Where's the ice cream at, Deni?"
We've all been asking that.
We're getting some. They're like, and he was like, I want to try to get enough for everybody else, and everyone else was like, "I don't care about everybody else. Where's ours?" Like, so. Just a real fun locker room, a real good camaraderie on this team, too, which I think is very helpful. And, again, they're just playing a way right now to where you look at their upcoming schedule and, some tough games, but also some very winnable games. And you start thinking about, like, where can this team be, when they get to the All-Star break? And the Blazers have been a team throughout the years, I would say the last 3 or 4 years, where they typically do kind of make a run later on in the season, and it hasn't resulted in a whole lot because they just haven't done what they've needed to do in the first half of the season to give themselves a chance in the second half. But that is the case this year. Like, they obviously being at 22-22, being at 500, being at 9th in the West right now. We mentioned Jimmy Butler, and that obviously is terrible. But the Warriors, a team that's right above the Blazers in the standings, like, you would assume that maybe the Trailblazers can move up because of the way they're playing. They don't necessarily need help from people ahead of them. Like, they're playing well enough to where they can, if they're able to continue the way that they've played as of late, as they bring guys back. And, there's maybe going to be a little bit of an adjustment period there to when they get Drew and Jerami and Deni and Rob, everyone who's kind of been injured for a while. If Matisse is able to come back, if Scoot's able to get back into the lineup at some point, there's probably going to be a little bit of time where they might have to kind of work things out a little bit, how that's going to work with everyone available. But it feels like they're in a good position to do that. And if there is any kind of initial, just some difficulty kind of getting everybody back on the same page, you do feel like once they do that, that's going to catapult them even further because, like, they have talent on this team. They just really haven't been able to get them all on the court at the same time other than the first couple weeks of the season. So, you look at the upcoming games. You host a back-to-back versus the Heat and the Raptors on Thursday and Friday. Then, as you mentioned, East Coast trip Celtics, Wizards, Knicks. Come back home, Cavs, Phoenix, 2 versus the Grizzlies, Philadelphia, road trip, 2-gamer, Minnesota, Utah before the All-Star break. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 games before the All-Star break. And it feels to me like if they're able to, they don't even have to win, 8 of 10 of these next 12.
They could, though.
But I think very feasible that these are games that they have a very good chance to win. And if they're able to play, even 500 basketball in going into the All-Star break, I think that really puts them on a strong footing going into, the stretch run of the season. And at that point in time, when you're already in that mix for the play-in, could you potentially get into the actual playoff race? Could you get to 6 where you don't have to be in the play-in?
That would be great, wouldn't
That would be awesome. And I think that's going to be difficult, but it is not out of reach, particularly if they're able to continue to play this way, if they're able to stay healthy or get healthy and stay healthy. I think that's a real legitimate opportunity for this team, a real legitimate scenario that could happen.
I agree. And again, you don't want to base how you do on other teams, but other teams go through, you just never know. Like a team in the 6, 7, 8 spot could go on a bit of a skid, and Blazers, I just don't feel like I don't see that happening. They don't like to lose, and so I don't see like one loss after another. I think with Deni back for sure. I mean, that guy really doesn't like to lose. So I just feel like they're kind of on the up and up right now, and it feels good. It feels like I just don't see that happening for them. So I think they continue to build on this. And when you said the camaraderie, tough one for me. You know what I love is when we watch our videos like on social media and stuff. I don't know if you guys see this. If you look at our Twitter, you do in social. But after games, our staff lines up in the hallway, fist bump, and then whoever does like the walk-off interview or does walk-off for radio, so they'll come into the locker room, a couple minutes after everyone's in there. They walk around and fist bump, high five every single person in the locker room before they sit down. Like it's just. Everyone's really happy for each other, and it's sometimes hard for me, and maybe for you. Like when not hard, but when I ask people questions about their night, they always want to talk about it, the rest of the team. Especially Deni. I'm like, Deni. I've tried to configure my questions, and I've gotten better at it where he has to answer something about himself rather than
put him into a corner.
Yes. Like I would say something like, "What are you like talking about? Like, what are you personally? What did you see from their defense, tonight that you were able to take advantage of?" So you kind of have to answer that because he'll talk about everybody else, and I love that. I mean, trust me, I love that. But it's hard to get them sometimes to give themselves credit because they want to give their teammates, credit. Like this was a team win, and honestly, they've all really been team wins.
Yeah.
I mean, Deni could have an amazing night, like he usually does, but then you got, as we mentioned, Donovan down low, or then the bench. There's always just. Everyone's getting involved in some way, and just back to your camaraderie comment where they just are rooting for each other.
Yeah.
And I love like the individual relationships too, like Deni and Duop. I don't know if people know that those two are very close, and they really root for each other. And I just love just seeing little things like that. Minutia in the locker room of guys that have these.
Everyone
really
loves Duop.
Everyone loves Duop.
So like Jerami always like. Is
And
always
Jerami.
asking Duop stuff. He's like, Duop, what? Like, I can always tell Jeremy's really interested in like Duop's perspective on things for whatever reason. And it's always nice. Like so when we're talking about what is the most beautiful language discussion that we're having in Sacramento, or excuse me, in San Francisco, Wop did his English accent. And it was great. And Jerami was busting up. It was the one I forgot to mention. Like,
how funny.
Like, Duop does a really good, like rude boy British accent kind of
I would
thing.
love
And
to hear
Jerami
that.
was dying at it. Like, and Jerami does that thing where, like, when he smiles big, like you can see like all of his teeth, and it's like like his face almost like kind of changes
exactly
a little
what
bit.
You're talking about.
Exactly. Like it becomes like he's more like I can't even really explain
I know,
it. It's
but I can see it right now.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. A couple of things there that you mentioned. Donovan talks about how they don't care who has a good game, and they're really excited about other guys' success all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I know Donovan, this is the only team he's ever been on, but I do always get the sense when he's talking about it that like guys have been on teams where guys were more concerned about like, what is my stat line going to be tonight? And yeah, I'm happy when the team wins, but I also like, I want to make sure that I'm
touches
getting
as I wanted.
Exactly. And like, it's I've thought about this a little bit. Like there's a lot of like good former player podcasts, and I like listening to them because you can always tell kind of which kind of player a guy was by the way that they talk about kind of their time in the league. And particularly the guys who are into podcasting feel to me like they're guys who are more like,
wait a second, we're podcasting.
I was more concerned about what my numbers were going to look like that night and not as much maybe about whether or not we won. And I was glad when we won, but if I had a good night and the team lost, that's fine by me. And that Blazers locker room is not like that at all. Like they want to win. And you're exactly right, Brooke. The other thing that I feel like is a good sign of the sustainability of this team is that they are winning without anyone like just going crazy. I mean, like obviously Deni's had a fantastic season. We'll talk about it here in a second. 5th in All-Star voting, which way to go, everybody. Like that, again, in my almost 20 years with the team, we've never gotten anywhere close to that many votes. And we have pounded the pavement for Damian Lillard throughout the years and, did what we could. But the Deni votes were on a different level. So shout out to everyone for that. But even though Deni has been great this year, it's like he's great in a very good all-star caliber way. He's not great in a Damian Lillard scoring, averaging 45 points over a 10-game period. And it's basically like one dude, and then you hope if someone else comes along, you have a chance to win. You mentioned the bench, too. It's not a situation anymore when you have to get to the bench and you're like, oh, boy, here we go. And in the years before, you felt good about maybe kind of your 5 or 6 guys. And then once you got to the bench, though, you're like, well, all right, hopefully we can hold on for these 10 minutes until we can get, the starters back in. Now the bench comes in and they're expanding leads. They're taking leads. They're playing kind of a different style of basketball sometimes that I think throws the opposition off. It's just a lot of the deficiencies that this team has had, I feel like in the last 2-3 seasons, they seem to have solved those things this year. And earlier in the season, they hadn't, so it's not even like they came into this year as a fully formed team that you felt really confident about. It seems to me that they've made a lot of progress throughout the course of this season to where they're at now is, I think, much further along than a lot of us. I mean, I'll just speak for myself, than I thought they would be this year. I knew they were going to be a better team this year. I knew that they had the bones to be more competitive. But with the injuries, I don't think I would have figured that, if you told me Drew's going to miss 2 months, Jeremy's going to miss a month, and you're going to be 22-22 at basically the midway point of the season, I'd have been like, did we make a trade? Did something kind of wild happen? And no, I mean, other than Deni Avdija going from a very good player to an all-NBA guy, and that ain't nothing. But there's nothing that's really this guy took a huge step or this guy took a huge step. I mean, Donovan has taken a huge step. I feel like Shaedon has become much more consistent. Tumani, after a rough start to the year, feels like he started to settle in. So guys have improved, but it's not like anyone is just ridiculous right now. It's just everyone is playing very good basketball. And on a night-to-night basis, you feel confident that, if this guy doesn't have it going, then someone else will. And they don't necessarily have to have someone have a huge night. They can just play good quality basketball, and that is enough on this team to beat other good teams.
I agree. Yeah, but I knew that Deni, we talked so much about this, he was the first to say, I had a hard time beginning of last year, figuring it out. And, when you get traded and you're everything's new, and not to mention where you're living is new, but the offense, everything just takes a while to get used to. And then when we really started to see him roll in at the end, I knew he was going to be good. I don't know if I knew to the level
I didn't think Deni was going to be this good. I can say that.
I mean, this love hearing everyone around the league, and we talk about it a lot on the broadcast because we had LeBron on last game talking about Deni didn't even play that game, but he talked about him. He's definitely an all-star. Every coach he's the top. Obviously, the scouting report. We have just great quotes from everyone around the league saying this guy's legit. So I did not know the extent. Pleasantly, I wouldn't even say surprised, but just impressed, wow, this Deni is, and he's just just couldn't be happier for the guy. Like, just a competitor. Everybody loves him too. And I didn't know exactly. I knew he'd be better as well, but I didn't think that it was going to be, or maybe I didn't know exactly it was going to be like just how consistent they've been. And no losses, no 40-point losses. That's just not happening.
Yeah.
That's just not happening.
Gosh, yeah, that's in last year. God, yeah.
I know. It's just not in the cards. They just won't let it happen. So it's been fun. And no matter what, I don't go in and be like, oh, this is going to be a rough night. I never feel that way. I mean, they're not going to win every game, but there's no point in time this season have I got into a game like this could be a long night, just because they don't think like that.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, we're going to give it everything we got, and then they do. And even against really great teams, they keep it competitive, or they win. I mean, season series over the Lakers, season series over the Warriors. What was the other one?
Kings. We got that one too.
There you go. Duh. That was most recent. I don't remember the last time I could say that.
I was almost going to ask our PR folks, but like, can we pull a number to see like when was the last time that we did win all those season series? Because it can't have been that often, and it hasn't been recent. I can say that much for sure. So, and they still have a chance to win the season. So, and to that point, it's like they beat Houston twice. They beat a very good Atlanta Hawks squad. The Lakers were missing Luka, but they won that game, and they won that game going away. As I mentioned, Kings have won 4 straight. They've had a tough season, but they're playing much better basketball. Blazers win that one going away. They beat the Celtics. They are one of the teams that have beat Oklahoma City this year. They beat the Nuggets earlier this season. They have good wins.
Okay,
and I think, you kind of looked at the way that last year ended, and they played very good basketball. But you look at some of the teams, and if you really kind of dig into like what was this team doing at that time, some of those teams maybe weren't trying as hard as you would like. That's obviously not the case right now. Like, they are beating good teams that are trying to beat the Blazers, and you're not even getting the situation anymore where it's like a team's coming in being like, oh, we're going to beat the Blazers, and then you jump on them and you beat them that way. Like, they're getting the best efforts from other teams, and they're still winning games. Mm-hmm. And winning games not always going away, but somewhat often-ish going away now. So, like, you don't want to get too far over your skis. There's a lot of season left to go. But it feels to me like they've already gotten through some adversity this year, and if they're able to, again, just stay healthy and just kind of keep playing hard, determined basketball, they're going to put themselves in a good position by the end of the season, because that's the thing I've said over and over and over again in the NBA. If you play hard in the NBA, you have a chance, because it's 82 games. A lot of teams are not going to be playing hard on a night-to-night basis. If you are a team that can bring a consistent effort every single night, you are going to be able to beat teams that might have more talent than you do. And the Blazers right now are doing that. I think having a guy like Deni makes a big difference because he always wants to play hard. I think having a guy like Drew, even when he's on the bench, is another guy where you're like, I don't want to play poorly in front of Drew Holiday, like I think that's a thing.
Funny.
Like and so if they're able to do that, and Thiago has the team again, I think he's gotten them to a point, and I think the rest of the staff deserves a lot of credit for it as well, of just getting it through to these guys that, like, if nothing else, we're going to play hard, and it's not going to be acceptable to go into games and seeing the way the game goes, and it's not our night, and just kind of giving that one up. We're not going to do that.
No.
And they haven't done that, and it's resulted in them being, again, I would say a surprise team this year. I'd have to look a little bit around the rest of the league. Maybe, people didn't probably expect the Pistons to maybe be this good this soon. I think people maybe expected that the Celtics were going to take more of a step back with Jason Tatum. They haven't really. Obviously, the Nuggets have been able to kind of stay afloat without Nikola Jokic. But when you talk about teams that I think are better than anyone assumed they were going to be, I think the Blazers probably maybe more than any other team in the NBA. I think, and it's just I feel like they're, and I saw it after the Kings game. Now that since I got to 500, I've seen more and more national, like, hey, maybe the Blazers aren't so bad.
No,
actually,
I
like,
see it everywhere.
I think you're starting to see more and more. When you can get media guys to be like, yeah, I might have missed on that one. You're playing good basketball, because usually it's like, no, I was right. They're going to get to where I thought they were. You just wait and see. Mm-hmm. But when people have seen it long enough, who already like stated their opinion about the team not being very good, when they're willing to come back and be like, hey, this team actually probably seems like they have some things going for them.
Yep.
That's how you know that you're playing good basketball.
I agree. This is something I thought about earlier that I wanted to go back to really quick. When you said that you listen to podcasts, but former players talking about like, well, I just wanted a good stat line that night. I don't feel like I can't think of any Blazer really. I mean, it was definitely on this team that thinks like that. But the only person I'll give a pass to for that is Carmelo Anthony, because he wanted his rebounds.
That's true.
That's the only one. And he gets a pass because that was important to him.
I actually thought about Carmelo because before we went on, we were talking about something, and you mentioned white turtlenecks, and Carmelo was wearing a white turtleneck on. So both Carmelo and Tracy McGrady were both on the NBC set, and they were both wearing turtlenecks. And I was like,
interesting.
And at least Tracy was wearing like a sport coat with it. Carmelo was just wearing like a shirt jacket thing.
A shirt jacket?
A shacket, I think that.
What the heck is that?
It looks like it's like a button-up shirt, but it's a little bigger. And to me, they're just shirts, but people call them shirt jackets.
I'm gonna have to look that up.
And I think sometimes they'll be like quilted on the inside, so they're a little thicker.
Oh, okay, sure. And that was over a turtleneck?
Well, it was. It probably wasn't a shacket necessarily. Like, it's probably debatable.
Shackets are funny.
But it is funny. And every time I say it, like, you pause for a half second because, you're like, I don't want to stumble and say the wrong thing.
Excuse you.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it was Carmelo obviously has great style. And I was just a little like, I can't even picture it. I can't even picture it, but I'm sure I'll find it. But it was a
good
turtleneck. Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Also, I remember the story I told you about Duop Reith and the Cameo. Someone asked me to do a cameo. It was a guy. He said, I've just started dating this girl. I really like her. Will you send her a cameo saying that I hope she one day likes me as much as she will like me as much as she likes Duop Reith?
That's great. No, I mean, I remember the last conversation we had about Cameo that was not.
Oh, well, this was
that. Okay,
this
so
is,
no.
That's
clouding my memory
as it
right
should.
now.
It was disturbing. No, so this guy reached out and said, just started dating this girl. I really like her, and she has she loves Duop Reith. That's her favorite. She loves Duop. Hopefully, one day she'll like me as much as she likes Duop. So I sent it. I was dying. I was like, this is the best cameo ever. This is amazing. You chose the right guy. He's the best. We all love Duop Reith. So I told Duop. I think that's like I posted a picture. I was like telling Duop a story because I was like, I got to tell you the story. Duop thought it was the best. He's like, no way. I was like, I swear it was great. Fast forward a couple weeks ago, I'm on set, and so it was like before pregame started, and someone like waved at me, and they're like, can we tell you something? So I walked over. It was a guy and a girl, and the guy was like, I asked you to do a cameo for me a couple weeks ago to say that, and said the whole, I'm like, no way. I go, that was so much fun. And he goes, this is the girl and we're dating now.
Oh.
I'm like, no way. So they're together. So then of course I had to go back to Duop and be like, they're dating now. I don't think she likes as much as she likes Duop or you, but maybe one day, I'm sure they're adorable and they're going to be great. But it was the cutest thing ever. It was like a full circle thing. I was like, thank you so much for coming to tell me that. I've already told, and when I told them, I told Duop, she was so excited.
Oh, that's awesome.
She's like, you told him? I was like, yeah, I told him. So they're together. I hope they get married one day, and I better be invited to the wedding, and then I'll ask Duop to come with me.
Yeah. No, plus one.
Yeah.
Duop plus
Isn't
one.
that great? I love that story.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it was so cute.
Duop Reith, bringing
people together.
Bringing people together.
Yeah.
I like Duop Reith. I like to use his reads for the podcast because I just like the way that he says Duop Reith.
I love it too.
And
he can do no wrong.
I like that my computer autocorrects Duop Reith to Duop Death because it's really like a juxtaposition of who Duop is, Yeah, like. And it's made it into like I do these little particularly after wins, I do these little recaps that we post on Instagram. And one time a Duop Death got through, and usually like I'm terrified or mortified when I see typos, but that was when I was like, oh,
that's
good.
funny.
I'm glad that made it through.
That's so funny.
That's fantastic.
You just don't think of that when you think of Duop. You think of life.
That's true.
He's the
you
best.
Do. Yeah. Well, real quick too, we before we sign off on this edition of the Blazers Balcony, I should also mention that Spirit Mountain Casino.
You should.
Comedy is coming to Spirit Mountain Casino.
Comedy.
Nationally acclaimed comedian Mark Norman is bringing his Mumbo Jumbo tour to Spirit Mountain Casino on January 24th. That is just a few days away from now at 7 p.m. Don't miss your chance to experience an unforgettable night of stand-up comedy. Tickets are on sale now at spiritmountaincasino.com. Spirit Mountain Casino, elevate your game. I looked up Mark Norman before because I noticed
what I'm doing right
the
now.
photo of him. So he has a podcast with Sam Morrill, I think, which is it's called We Might Be Drunk. And they recently had Jerry Seinfeld on, and it was a really good interview.
Oh, he's cute.
Yeah, no.
Is that him?
That's him.
He's adorable. He looks like a Savage, one of the Savage brothers.
He does, yeah. He absolutely does.
Oh,
well,
wow.
He's got a good podcast, Brooke. So the 24th, where are we at on the 24th? Are we working?
We're at Spirit Mountain Casino.
We should be at Spirit Mountain Casino. We got to do that live show at Spirit Mountain Casino. I want to get us out there. I need to drop some money to the good folks at Spirit Mountain Casino at the tables or at their fantastic slot machines.
I have
way.
not gone to a casino in way too long. This is out of character.
We need to rectify that
Yes.
by getting to Spirit Mountain Casino. Oh, that's 24th, so we're going to be flying to Boston for that show, Brooklyn.
Oh,
Unfortunately.
no. I'm going to have to look up his schedule.
Well, yeah, Mark, come to a Blazer game, buddy.
Mark.
Mark,
Come tell me some jokes.
Yeah, tell Brooke some jokes, Mark Norman. Warm up the crowd at Moda Center on January 23rd, and then do your show at January 24th at Spirit Mountain Casino, 7 o'clock. Tickets still on sale at spiritmountaincasino.com.
He's been on Jimmy Kimmel. He's been on all the late night shows.
They get great shows out there at Spirit Mountain Casino. There's always something exciting happening at Spirit Mountain Casino, Highway 18 Grand Ronde. Elevate your game. So the last time I did this read, when I was looking at his photo, I was like, I feel like I recognize that guy. And so then I typed in Mark Norman, Sam Morrill podcast, and they're on the podcast together, and it's a really quality podcast.
Okay, so it has a D at the end. Mark Norman.
Yeah.
So let me see. Yep, Grand Ronde, and then he goes to random. The next one is New Brunswick, New Jersey. Hey, are we going to be?
No.
Are we going to be in New York on the 29th?
I keep pulling up the schedule and then putting it away. We are going to be in New York on January 29th.
We might need to go to New Brunswick, New Jersey.
New Brunswick, yeah.
I don't know where that is, but
I think it's like. I was going to say Jersey proper, like that means anything to me.
Oh, Jersey proper.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go to not Kelly Clarkson, Drew Barrymore, and then Mark Norman. It's going to be a very busy day for me. You got to come with me. Not to Drew Barrymore. I
don't get the Drew Barrymore.
No, I don't think so.
So it looks like New Brunswick, not far from. So New Brunswick, just a hop, skip, and a jump from Staten Island. So
okay.
Yeah, let's.
All right.
See, what's an Uber cost from New Brunswick, New
Good
Jersey
question.
to...
Oh, he's going to Spokane in March.
That's
April.
Your stomping grounds.
May. Sorry.
Yes. One of the months of the year.
In May. He's going to Spokane in May. I really think he needs to work on his scheduling because he goes from North Carolina to Spokane, Washington to Philadelphia.
Well, so Brooke, I think he's one of those. So I think his podcast is probably like his main gig now, and which is good for stand-up comedy because if you have a good podcast, and his podcast is a good and I'm guessing a somewhat successful podcast, you make your money on that, and then you keep your name in kind of the zeitgeist enough to go on touring shows.
No, but I'm just saying his scheduling. I mean, he's going zigzag across the country.
Because what I'm saying though, Brooke, is I bet he's probably doing the show at Spirit Mountain Casino on January 24th. Tickets on sale at spiritmountaincasino.com. And then probably going back to Los Angeles where he does his podcast.
Okay, I see.
And then probably just goes out like on the weekends.
Okay.
So,
got you. Okay, so that makes more sense. Oh, yeah. He had Seinfeld on his podcast.
Yeah, I just saw it the other day. And I think he even mentioned that he tried to impress Jerry at one point in time, like at an event, and Jerry was like, yeah, no, that didn't work.
Oh, that's
and he
funny.
was like, yeah, no, it's terrible. It is a 1 hour drive from New York to New Brunswick. So that's doable, Brooke. I bet there's maybe a train.
I was just going to say, we probably should take a train. He's at a Knicks game here with my friend, Ben Stiller.
Your buddy Ben Stiller, yeah.
Yeah, and Jimmy Fallon, and I don't know those other people. But so he does like basketball. That's good. Oh, and he's married with a baby. And that baby's really cute. And his wife's really cute.
Oh, is that then? Okay.
I assume. I don't think you just met them on a hike. Oh, that's cute. I still would like to go here.
So now we're not going to
No, I'm still in. I'm still in. I'm still in. I love comedy shows.
You do love comedy shows, which is why you should go to Spirit Mountain Casino on January 24th, 7 p.m. to see Mark Norman, even though he is married with a baby.
And then they're very cute.
Deni Avdija is not married nor has a baby, but finished 5th in fan voting for the 2026 NBA All-Star Game, which with over 2.2 million votes, Deni passing both Victor Wembanyama and Anthony Edwards in the fan vote in the last week of voting. Deni getting almost 1 million votes in the last week of fan voting to get into 5th place. If this was a decade ago and fan vote was the only determination for NBA All-Star starters, Deni Avdija would be a starter at the 2026 NBA All-Star Game, but it's not a decade ago. Now the fans get 50% of the vote. Players get 25% of the vote, even though they really don't care, and media gets 25% of the vote, and Deni did not do as well in either the player or the media vote, so he finishes 7th in the total vote.
Surprises me, by the way.
It doesn't surprise me,
I know.
actually.
I mean, it does. It shouldn't, but I don't know. Just like back to my point of everyone around the league, just really recognizing what he's doing. I've kind of felt like they would.
It's one of those. So what it is, though, Brooke, in my personal opinion, when you haven't made an All-Star game yet, you're not one of those guys.
Yeah.
When you do make the All-Star game, then you become one of those guys.
That makes sense.
But until then, guys just don't think of you that way. You have to get that first one in. And he hasn't yet. He is going to this year. I feel very confident that he's going to get it from the coaches' vote.
I'll riot.
That gets announced on February 1st. I would be shocked at this point if he doesn't make it through the coaches' vote. I have no idea how they're going to put that game together. I have no idea if there's 3 teams. What happens if all the reserves are internationals? What happens if they're all Americans? Who is the coach of the 3rd team? Because usually it's whatever the coach that has the best record in each conference coaches that conference. But if there's a 3rd team, who coaches that team? And does he have to be international? If it's the international team, there are a lot of international coaches these days, so that would not be difficult. But I don't know how it's going to work. They haven't said how it's going to work. I think at this point, obviously, I think we feel really confident about Deni's candidacy. But I also think that Donovan Clingan, as a second-year player, should at this point be a lock for the rookie-sophomore game. I would assume that Caleb Love, as a rookie, despite being undrafted and a two-way player, it's probably as close to a lock as you can get.
We've been pushing it on the broadcast.
I would not at all be surprised if Hansen, with the amount of time that he's played in the G League and the numbers he put up in the G League, there is going to be a G League team at the Rising Stars Challenge. It wouldn't shock me at all if he ended up there as well. So it's looking like it's going to be a pretty fun All-Star weekend for the Portland Trail Blazers. It's not going to be fun for Casey because I'm going to be running around Los Angeles nonstop, but it's going to be fun to have something to cover. So unfortunate that Deni didn't get in through the fan vote, but really shout out to everyone for the votes.
Yes.
For him to do as well as he did. And again, we've worked our buns off throughout the years to get guys into the All-Star game. You want to get them in anyways, but you also want to show that you're putting in the work for them because you want to show the players that you respect the work that they've put in. And as an organization, we're going to try to put in the work for you. Hasn't necessarily resulted in those guys getting in, but I think it does result in the players appreciating the effort that everyone puts in. So fully expect Deni to make the All-Star game. We have been snubbed before, so you can't count chickens. But I would say at this point, Deni not getting in would be a absolute travesty. He has been one of the best players in the NBA this year, one of the best players in the Western Conference, undoubtedly, has taken a huge step. And the Blazers are winning too. And if the Blazers were 12-22 instead of 22-22, I think he's probably got some problems getting in. But the way they've played, the record, the improvement they've made this year, I think Deni Avdija absolutely has to be at the All-Star game.
100%. And you're right. Shout out to the fans. And as we know, and we've talked about numerous times, Deni fans are ride or die. Mm-hmm. I mean, I love it. They are Deni Stan is a Deni Stan. I've never seen anything like it. Obviously you have people that are fans of certain players that that have been on the team in the past and now, but and I know they talk to you too, but when Deni fans, as I mentioned last podcast, people come, from very far away to see him from where he's from, just to see Deni play. And when they talk to you about how much they love him, it's inspiring. Yeah. They're like, we watch every game. We do not miss a single game. We love Deni. They love him. Yeah. They love themselves some Deni. And so, yes, shout out to everyone who voted. And a lot of them said, I vote every day. I wake up and I vote. I'm like, I believe you. Yeah, I believe you.
There's been some Israeli media in town lately, and I always talk to, because they're great guys.
They are.
And he was saying, every Blazer game now is like an event, because everyone gets up and tunes in, which is fantastic.
It gives me chills, really.
No, it's really cool, and and it's really great to see him just have the success he's had, because he's also he's a really humble, down to earth guy.
Totally,
we've had some of those guys before. Dame is kind of like that too, but in a different way. Mm-hmm. I think Dame knows he's good, but doesn't throw it in your face, but also he knows he is. Deni is more he's a little more low key about it, and
also a little aw shucks about it.
Yeah, and almost so if you hadn't spent a lot of time around him, you would maybe be this kind of feels like an act, maybe. And the longer you spend around him, and the more you get to know him, it's not an act. That's just
what I love too. Speaking of those fans, is I've interviewed Deni Walkoff more than anyone else this year for obvious reasons. But if I've had a couple in a row, then if Shaden has a big night, or or Jerami,
you gotta break it up.
You gotta break it up. I love it. They're not mad, but I will be I get a lot of messages why not Deni? I was where was the Deni walk-off? Deni have blah, blah. I'm no, I know. Deni was great tonight, but I literally interviewed him 3 times this week. Let him go into the locker room and, take a shower early. We got to share the wealth a little bit. And they're not mad. They're just well, Deni played really well. I was no, he did, but, it's just so funny. And then when we have this is my favorite the other day when social media, our social people and you post walk-ins, and Deni's doesn't maybe he came really early, or somehow he's just not shown in the where's Deni?
Yeah.
Why isn't Deni in the walk-ins? It's just funny. Yeah. And it's again not out of mean spirit. They're just where is he? They want to see him everywhere. Where's Deni?
He's got fans for multiple reasons. Obviously he's a great player. Obviously, he's putting on for his country, and I get the sense that he's got a fair amount of admirers outside of basketball as well. So
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, no, that's what I hear. At least I don't.
He deserves all the love.
Yeah, no, and he gets it. Well, thank you so much for joining us on this edition of the Blazers Balcony. We'll be back next week, very likely from somewhere on the East Coast where it is also frigid right now, Brooklyn. We were talking about it being a little cold out here today. It is biblical on the East Coast in terms of the cold over there.
Biblical.
But it'll be fun. It should be a great trip. Hopefully the Trailblazers able to finish off this week with some wins. Thursday versus the Miami Heat. Friday versus the Toronto Raptors. Leaving the next morning, and we are leaving in the morning too.
9 a.m. I heard.
9 a.m. That is correct. For a 3-game road trip. So we will talk to you then. Please like and subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Thank you so much to our friends at Spirit Mountain Casino. Check out Mark Norman, Brooke's good buddy, at Spirit Mountain on January 24th at 7 p.m. He'll have his wife and kids with him. We'll talk to you soon.
But first of all, before I say peace out, best ever, Deni Avdija, not married, doesn't have a baby. The transition is priceless.
Thanks,
all right, on that note, peace out.